Here are some things that you've heard me say many times if you've watched my other videos. Human sexuality is complex. Humans are multidimensional sexual creatures. Sexuality is not one size fits all. I'm repeating these comments to set the tone for today's video about asexuality. Welcome to another episode of Adult Sex Education. I'm Dr. Stephen Davidson, the Sexual Integrity Coach, located in Wilton Manors, Florida. Today I'm answering questions from a subscriber about the subject of asexuality. Here are some things that you've heard me say many times if you've watched my other videos. Human sexuality is complex. Humans are multidimensional sexual creatures. Sexuality is not one size fits all. I'm repeating these comments to set the tone for today's video about asexuality. People who identify as asexual have little or no sexual attraction toward others. This is different from people who identify as celibate. Celibacy is a choice to abstain from sexual behavior even when sexual attraction to others exists. Asexuality is a sexual orientation and not a conscious change in behavior. Only about 1 to 2% of people identify as asexual, meaning they have little to no sexual attraction to others. Younger people are more likely to identify as asexual than older people. Females are more likely to identify as asexual than males. Asexual people can have a libido and sexual urges, but without direction towards someone else. They don't crave sexual activity with another person. They have few or no fantasies about sex with others. They likely never sexualize or objectify another person. They can recognize sexual attraction in others, so they notice how people behave or flirt when they are attracted to someone else. They might observe when someone is sexualizing them or someone else, even when they don't experience this attraction themselves. They understand it intellectually, even if they don't relate to it personally. Ironically, they might have a libido. Some asexual people masturbate to experience a physiological release, but this isn't associated with sexual desire or fantasy to be with someone else. About 50% of asexual people report feeling repulsed at the thought of sex with another person, and the other 50% have varying degrees of sexual aversion. Aversion means that you're not necessarily repulsed, but it isn't something you enjoy. Let's complicate this a little more and throw in another term that you're likely even less familiar with. That term is aromantic. One word, not two. Aromantic, not aromantic. This means no desire for romance. So, an aromantic person will have sexual attraction to others, but no desire for romantic love or emotional bond. That sexual attraction could be toward those of the same or opposite gender or both. They may try to stay in lasting relationships, but eventually they find they are more sexually comfortable in situations where there's no expectation for an emotional bond. Most asexual people are also aromantic, but not all. Most aromantic people are not also asexual. Some asexual people do enjoy having a special person in their life of the same or opposite gender, even if they don't want to have sex with them. They might still enjoy physical affection that isn't a precursor to sex. Asexual people might bond with another emotionally, intellectually, or even aesthetically, but have no desire for sex with that person. They may seek what superficially appears to be a romantic attraction, but with no desire for sex. Since so much of our coupling behavior is influenced by culture, many asexual people don't realize they are asexual until after they partner or marry. In some cases, asexual people have said that they were aware they had no erotic desire, but they thought this would automatically turn on after they got married and had their first sexual experience. Social norms direct all of us toward heterosexual long-term relationships with the expectation of living happily ever after. Asexual people might also follow this path out of social coercion. These relationships rarely last because both parties eventually find the relationship too stressful and unfulfilling. Please note that asexuality is not a mental illness or a sexual disorder. The American Psychiatric Association once recognized a diagnosis known as sexual aversion disorder. But the APA removed that diagnosis from the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders when it introduced the DSM-5 in 2013. Sadly, we have a long history of demonizing, pathologizing, and criminalizing anything associated with sex, even those who have no desire to engage in it. So, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like other sexual orientations, asexuality is not changeable with therapy or prayer. It tends to be static throughout life. Don't confuse it with arousal disorders, orgasmic disorders, or other sexual disorders where desire once existed but has now waned due to medical, psychological, or relational factors. Also, there's no evidence that asexuality results from a history of sexual trauma. Sexual labels tell us little about someone's intellect, personality, or their degree of happiness. Also, the semantics change across culture and time as concepts emerge or fall away. However, labels do help us articulate to others who we know ourselves to be and therefore navigate relationships with others with a little more ease. I hope you will like this video and subscribe to this channel. Please check out my website at sexualintegritycoach.com. There you'll find links to both of my books, Peaceful Mind, Peaceful Life, the Guidebook to Happiness, as well as Sexual Integrity, Finding the Courage to Be Yourself.